Hi, everyone. I've got an amazing guest today who is very unique, and I'd have to say a one of a kind. I think he is a master at what he does, and I think that his knowledge, which goes back to thousands of years, is going to blow everyone away. Welcome, Rumen Kolev, who is a Babylonian astrologer with absolutely phenomenal ancient knowledge that is dead for the most part, and is not promoted in the West. And Rumen, can you just talk a little bit about what got you into astrology, Babylonian astrology, and just your knowledge of the gods and of the influences that we are dealing with in this reality, and maybe even the mysterious aspects of these gods and who we are, amongst other things. And give your website at the end. Also, Rumen has an amazing book. He's going to talk about that. I am so excited. Rumen.
Hello. Nice to see you, and hi to everyone from Varna, Bulgaria. To talk about this, I started actually with medieval and Renaissance astrology when I was very young, 17 years old, and it was a communist country then, Bulgaria, in this time. I was in high school, and I was lucky to find people in Bulgaria who were working with medieval Renaissance astrology and even Hellenistic, and this was somewhere in 1977 in this time, and this was because there was one Russian guy who fought the Bolsheviks in the Civil War, which was in 1918, 1920. So he emigrated from Russia to Bulgaria, and he was highly educated man. He was very young when he came here. He was officer. Gruzinev, Fyodor Gruzinev was his name, and also he was from the upper class in the Tsarist Russia, and he knew all European languages, and on the top he knew also Latin and some Greek also. So he translated medieval works from Latin to Bulgarian and Russian, and he did this in the 70s, in the 60s. So I had a very good start.
That's incredible. So it's it's communist, and how do they look at what was their point of view about studying these things in a communist?
Well, this was forbidden knowledge, and it was persecuted. And in this time, I had many friends who had big problems. They, some of them regularly had their houses searched and their books taken away from the special police, and big problems they had.
And why do you think it was in the interest of them not to want anybody to know this kind of information? What was the threat?
Well, you see, the communist so-called regime in this time, it was a totalitarian state, and they would not allow anything which is against their ideology. And astrology, of course, was something which was not sanctioned by Karl Marx and Lenin and so on. So they they persecuted everything which was against their ideology.
And when he translated these works,
Mm.
these medieval works,
Mm.
what did he find written in there?
Well, he translated a lot of things, and this was astrology which the Western world came to 20 years after him. Actually, 20 years after I started. This Robert Hunt, Schmidt, Zoller, they started this project Hindsight, and they started translating things that I knew 20 years before that.
Incredible.
And much more, actually, because this guy translated a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And I had all of his books. It was an interesting story that I happened when I was in high school and I went to Sofia. I was introduced to one of his best students, and he was very famous with the fact that he would not give any book to anyone. Wow. He was just keeping everything locked up for himself and didn't give any books, even for several hours, because in this time you take the book and you need at least several hours to go and copy it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right. And it was not a simple task, because all these people who worked at copy machines, yeah, they were checked by the securities. They were spied on, and they could get in prison even if they copied something which was not sanctioned by the communist government. And I was lucky also to have such a guy who basically copied everything that I gave him, and of course I paid him generously. So this was such kind of situation there. And when I talked with this guy, and I told him, look, I'm interested in this stuff. I know that Fyodor Gruzonev, this Russian guy, had a lot of translations, a lot of books. Can I have a look? And he looked at me and asked, tell me, when are you born? And I said, yes. And I said, well, 29th of November, 1960. And then he said, what time? I said, 3:00 in the morning. And then he opened a safe, something huge. And I saw there maybe 30, 40 books from this guy who translated all this manuscript. And he said, that's it. Take whatever you want.
Wow.
And then what was actually the reason for this was that he himself was born uh, on the 28th of November at, at the same time, 300.
Oh, wow. That's
So we, yeah, but he was like 15 years before me.
hmm hmm
So that's how I got access to this treasury.
incredible.
So I had a very good start, lucky start. Mm, and then, of course, I developed this research, and with Babylonian astrology, I met much later. Uh, it was, let's see, somewhere in 1997. 1997? Yes, somewhere around there. Um, because before that, I developed the theory and the practice of the primary directions, which are maybe the most difficult tool, but the most efficient tool for prediction in astrology. And the primary directions also were forgotten long time ago, um, and they were used before the Second World War. They were used then, before the Second World War, in Germany, in France, in England. But something happened, and after the Second World War, all these people who used and knew these directions, they died out, and they were forgotten.
Interesting.
And I developed this in algorithms for computers. I wrote a computer program which was the first to compute the primary directions, and I had several students around the whole world, and one of them was in Switzerland studying PhD in Assyriology. So, and she told me, "Hey, look, do you know that in Mesopotamia they had very, very interesting astrology there?" And I said, "Oh, really?" And then she started sending me all kind of books of articles on the topic of Babylonian astrology and about the cuneiform language. Actually, everything that she went through in this program there at the university, I think, where was she? I don't remember the city where she was studying. Actually, she started sending me all these materials that she herself went through in this program, and I started reading them. And these were thousands and thousands of pages of translations, of original cuneiform texts, of all these homeworks for the language and all these kind of things. And the more I read, the more I said, wow, that's so cool. So it was in 1997 when I started with the Babylonian astrology. Um, and also I started with observations, my personal observations of the sky with naked eye, just as they did it in Babylon. And this is one of the pillars of Babylonian astrology, is observation of the sky with naked eye, because astrology basically is reading the signs on the sky.
Yeah.
So then I started gathering all these observations, writing them down, about the heliacal phases, which were long time forgotten. They're like the heliacal phases, they were forgotten for more than 2,000 years.
And why do you think that happened?
Well, astrology went from Mesopotamia to Greece in several periods. Like the last and most powerful period was during the time of Alexander the Great. They had, of course, before that, some interaction with Egypt, with ancient Egypt, and with ancient Greece also. But during the time of Alexander the Great, this was set in stone. Like many things from the Babylonian culture, especially from the sacred knowledge, went to the Greek philosophers and priests, and astrology went to Greece in this time. But you see, the Greeks, they were more mental kind of people. They were more into the mental kind of realm than in the practical touch with reality. So because of that, they didn't observe the sky too much. Actually, most of them didn't observe the sky. Even Ptolemy, when he made his when he wrote his chapter on the heliacal phases, he wrote this in his Almagest, not in the Tetrabiblus, but in the Almagest. He was using observations of some friend of him whom he called Cyrus, which means the guy from Syria. And this guy from Syria, he sent him several observations of heliacal phases, which is like when a planet will show up for the first time on the sky, observable to the naked eye, and when she will disappear from the sky. So these are the heliacal phases. So he built his whole algorithm on these several observations, and it was wrong. Even the algorithm of Ptolemy was wrong, because he was not a practical observer. He was a theoretician. And actually, some people say that astrology started at ancient Greece. I say that actually astrology died in ancient Greece. Ancient astrology died there.
Exactly. Yes.
And this was because they were more inclined to theoretical thought.
Right.
And they lost how to compute the heliacal phases. In Babylon, they computed them with exactness to the day. Something that even now nobody can. Even now, the astronomers from Oxford and from Harvard and from NASA, they cannot do it. Amazing. Well, they have algorithms, yes. They have been published articles by some scholars, 2 or 3 scholars. I have all their materials. But guess what? If you try to use their algorithms, you will see that they don't work. And why is this? Because they don't have observations, and their algorithms are based on some theoretical assumptions. So now, as you know, there are programs, there are computer programs which claim that they compute the heliacal phases, right?
Mhm.
But in fact, they compute them wrong.
Fascinating.
So this is one thing that they forgot. Another thing that they forgot is that astrology is, as I said, reading the signs on the sky. And the sky is three-dimensional. There is a horizon, there is a meridian, there are stars, there are meteorites, meteors, meteor showers, supernovas, halos around the sun and the moon. There are so many things which happen on the sky and which can be observed by everybody with more or less normal eyesight. You know, some people say that, oh, wait. Uh, heliacal phases, appearances of planets for the first time on the sky. Well, this depends on the people, right? On the eyesight of the people. Somebody with sharp eyesight will see Jupiter appearing uh, maybe several days before other guys. But you see, they don't have practice. They have not observed the sky. They speak just from theoretical motives and speculations. And the fact is that I have observed the sky many times with groups of people, with 5 people, 10 people, even 20 people. And as a rule, uh, everybody will see the heliacal rising of planets and stars on the same day. There were, of course, from 100 people, there will be 1 or 2 with very sharp eyesight who may see it like 1 or 2 days before that, and there are again 1 or 2 people with not very good eyesight who will see them 1 or 2 days after everybody else. But the fact is that more than 90% of the people will see this phenomena on the same day. On the same day. So in Babylonian astrology, observing the sky and the phenomena which happens on the sky is one of the pillars, without which nothing is possible.
Right. Do you think that they were able to, I've done some research into magnetic reversals that happened in the past, and there have been various magnetic reversals that occurred. Do you think that Babylonian astrology would have been able to detect abnormalities in the sky prior to a magnetic reversal?
Uh, they they recorded their observations, and not only of the sky but also on what happens around them on the earth.
Right.
They will write every day. They will keep diaries. There are astronomical, astrological Babylonian diaries. Many of them were translated, and they will write there not only the astronomical and the astrological phenomena, but they will also write the inflation rate of the day. How much costs one sack of wheat or barley,
Oh, yeah.
for example. They will write also how high will be the waters in the wells of Babylon. They will write if some event happens, like okay, a fox entered the temple of Ishtar, and they will write this down. So they were aware and keen to notice everything on the sky and on the earth. And if this magnetic reversal has some implications and some consequences, they will notice them without doubt.
Do you know if they've
So
written about that in any of the material you have come across? Did they ever write about like a massive catastrophic event that was very, on a worldwide scale?
in the diaries, there were these diaries which are translated. They were from the later period, let's say from the 8th century BC until the end of the story, which is around 70 AD. Around 70 AD was written the last astrological report in Babylon. Yeah, and
Interesting.
I don't know. I suppose that this is connected with the Romans, which in this time were doing their things in this area. They destroyed Jerusalem, and probably they spread around around destroying everything, or they lost their jobs. These astrologers, the priests, they were employed by the king, by the ruling guy there. And I suppose that when the Romans were in charge, they just stopped this. And so about catastrophic events, what I know is that, for example, before the battle of Alexander the Great in Gaugamela with the Persian king, then there were a total lunar eclipse several days before the battle, and on this night, or on some night just before the battle, there was a meteor shower, and there was meteorites falling from the sky, which they recorded. I had a lecture on this. It is called Historical Omena in Mesopotamia, and I was talking about 3 historical omena, and one of them is this case with Alexander the Great and with the total lunar eclipse before the Great Battle, in which Alexander the Great, only with 40 or 50,000 men, crushed enormous army of at least 200,000. Some of the ancient authors even write that there were 500,000. But the fact of the matter is that this total lunar eclipse happened in such a lunar day, and in such a period of the night, which was I think the middle period. Like that, there are 3 watches, so they would interpret an eclipse by the lunar day, by the lunar month, and by the watch in which it happens. So everything implied Persia. All these 3. lunar month, lunar day, and watch of the night, all of them were pointing to Persia. So everybody knew several days before the battle, everything knew that it's over for the Persian king.
Wow.
And this is I had this in my YouTube channel, Historical Omena. It was a lecture on the second European conference. And apart from this, a major kind of catastrophic event, to my mind comes only one text, which I think it is somewhere, I'm not sure from which king it was. I think it was from Assyrian kings somewhere. Was it in the 12th, the 13th century BC? I'm not sure, but but there is one clay tablet on which we have this circle, and we have cuneiform writing there, and also arrows pointing here and there, names of planets, of constellations, of divinities.
Mhm.
And there is speculation that this is about a huge meteorite which hit the Earth somewhere in 3600 BC, somewhere around. I may try to find it and show it to you. This text. Let me put some search here. I'll put some search and we'll find it. It is known as a planisphere. The planisphere. Oh, let's see. It is very, very interesting text, which is still not decoded.
Oh,
Even
really?
even today, it is not fully translated and fully decoded because they don't understand what on earth this means. Aha, I found it. Let's. Okay, now I'll share the screen. Let me see. Huh.
Do you see the share screen at the bottom of Zoom? It's green. It's a little green square with an arrow going up, and it says share on the very bottom where you see.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. So this is actually in this time, it is very, very interesting that in this time in East Europe, like Bulgaria, Romania, Serbia, Hungary, there was a civilization which exactly around this time vanished.
What? Okay, did you share screen yet?
Okay, share screen. Okay. Yes, right now.
Okay,
Do you see?
Carrie. Oh, I have seen this before. Okay, so which civilizations vanished?
There was a civilization or culture the archaeologists still don't know how to call it, which is called the early Danubian civilization, and it was spread around the river Danube, Bulgaria, Romania, Hungary, and Serbia, and they had also some kind of script, of proto-script, because they used symbols, maybe several hundred kinds of symbols, and they will write, if I can say this, write these symbols on their ceramics, on their and even there are several clay tablets with such ideograms, as they are called. So in my book, The Babylonian Astrolabe, I talk about this also. I shortly on several pages I talk about this, and this civilization, as you know, probably they also had they made jewelry, gold jewelry. Actually, the first gold jewelry comes from Varna, Bulgaria, where I am right now, from 4000 BC, 4500 BC. So they were quite advanced civilization, and exactly around 3600 they disappeared. No more, nothing. They just evaporated, so to say. And this may be connected with this, because there is a theory that this text here, that this cuneiform text here shows the path of this huge meteorite, like this arrow here. There is some speculations from some authors which suppose that this may be the so-called chart of this huge meteorite, which went through the atmosphere over Mesopotamia, and then they say that it hit some kind of mountain peak in modern Switzerland.
Interesting.
So here we can see the names of stars, of constellations here, of planets. Venus, star here, and these are constellations. This arrow here, I believe shows the where is the spring equinox, and then there is also some kind of magical formula here, invoking divinities, and look, this here looks like Orion,
Oh,
the
yes.
constellation. And here is written, you see this line here?
Yeah.
This line is very interesting, that here is written death, path. So something like the path of death or something. Like this is bad. We can read this. phonetically, I think like but, haram, 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 which means the path of death. And thinking maybe that this was the path of the meteorite. But this is, this is still for me. This is something which needs further research, and this must be translated and in this original shape. Just put here instead of cuneiform the English translation, so you can orient yourself.
Yeah, right.
This is, I think, which should be done. There is also another theory which says that this is a magical, astromagical text for invocation of divinities done at a particular time. So astral magic. So there are a lot of variants. I have not examined this text fully, but what I know is this, that most probably one of these theories is probably correct about this.
And there's no other similar find. There's nothing else that they discovered that is similar to that. That's the only one that's been discovered like that.
The only one that is known to the wider public. But one thing I'll tell you, that in the cellars of the museums lay thousands of clay tablets, which nobody has seen for decades. Because you see, research on Babylonian astrology in the academia is not on vogue. It is not something trendy because there is no money there. There is no scholarships there. Nobody from the big sponsors give any funding for astrology research, and that's why the scholars, this official academia scholars, the so-called paid scholars, they don't have interest in this, and that's why it is neglected. The research on Babylonian astrology is neglected since 100 years ago, because 100 years ago there was a big argument in the academia. It started somewhere at the turn of the century, let's say 1900, until the First World War. It was like the most intense argument was in this period, from the end of the 19th century until 1920 something. And it was between the Pan-Babylonists, which were a group of German scholars who actually discovered a lot of truths about Babylonian culture, astrology, about their mental kind of state, about their worldview. They were called Pan-Babylonists, and their opponents were scholars who were connected with with Kugler. Kugler was a Jesuit professor, Jesuit priest, professor in mathematics, astronomy, and ancient languages. So he was kind of a genius who combined all this knowledge, which is difficult to combine in one person, right? Mathematics with languages. So this guy was very, 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 very intelligent. But because of his dogmas, because of his preconceived notions and dogmas, he turned against the Pan-Babylonists, and he convinced the academia that he was right and the Pan-Babylonists not. But what he was doing, he was not building any kind of understanding. He was just destroying what the Pan-Babylonists did. He was just destroying it. He didn't build anything. He just destroyed what the other side has done as a research. I had in my book the Babylonian Astrolabe. I have a chapter on this very interesting moment. Let me see if I can find it where it is. So let's see if I can find this. Okay, so it's a interesting story that from this time on, research on Babylonian astrology and all this kind of texts was very neglected. And actually, after this argument, after Kugler convinced the other scholars that he was right, they just translated texts without interpretation and without even trying to understand what on earth is going on there. So that's why this that's why research on this is right now is not funded. But you see, we don't need actually to wait for the official institutionalized paid academia scholars to do our job. And I don't think that they will do a good job anyway. I don't think they will do. Yeah. They'll just confuse the people and nothing else. Let me see.
Okay, I just thought of something. You said that the last Babylonian writing was in 79 AD, correct?
70
or 70, around there.
Around 70 AD, yes.
Yeah, and that was an incredibly pivotal time because there were a lot of wars happening around there, and then in 79 AD there was the Mount Vesuvius that erupted. It just seems like that was a really intense time.
Yes, Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Jerusalem, the second temple in Jerusalem was
Yeah,
destroyed.
right.
Um, and actually, this was yeah, this was a very, very horrific period. Mm,
So when you do astrology, Babylonian astrology, are you able to see those events that are in the horizon? Are you able to see that it's going to be extremely turbulent or that there's going to be earth catastrophes? Is there knowledge handed down through Babylonian astrology that can really indicate future events?
uh, well, of
Yeah.
course, it is like if we are talking about the view of Babylonian astrology towards global periods
Mhm.
and events,
Mhm.
then um, we must look at several things. Like first, very important is in which sign and exactly where is the spring equinox.
Mhm.
Because as you know, due to the precession,
Mhm.
the spring equinox moves on the background of the fixed stars,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And and this and because the spring equinox moves, then we must see exactly constellation, in which constellation, and exactly where it is.
Mhm. Right.
So I'll show you something here. Mm, just let me see. Okay, I'll go here. Um, let me show you. Just share the screen again. Okay.
Okay,
Now,
there we go. It's coming on.
now, yeah, this is
Oh, good.
my computer. This is one module from my computer program, Placidus.
Wow.
This is the model Porphyrius Magus, which is for ancient, medieval, Babylonian, Hellenistic astrology. And here, this orange uh, circle here is the spring equinox.
Hmm.
And I will go to now. Now, I go to now, and I'll go to, as you see, right now I am in the tropical zodiac, which puts 00 Aries at the equinox. And here, let me see. Here, this
Right.
is the equinox.
Yep.
I'll just move it a little bit. So, yeah, here is the equinox, and from here starts the tropical Aries. But
Hmm.
if I go to the fixed Babylonian zodiac,
Hmm.
right now we see that it is in the 4th degree and 52 minutes of Babylonian Pisces.
Hmm.
So, in short, to tell you, um, the Babylonian fixed zodiac, um, the star Aldebaran is in the middle of Babylonian fixed Taurus, 1500.
Hmm.
So that's the uh, determination of the Babylonian fixed zodiac.
Hmm.
Aldebaran, the star in the constellation Taurus,
Hmm.
is in 1500 Babylonian fixed Taurus. There is the difference with the Vedic fixed zodiac is less than 1 degree, of I think 54 minutes, because they put speaker at 00 Libra. And in the Babylonian zodiac, speaker will be in 29 degrees and 06 minutes of Babylonian Virgo here. So, by the movement of the spring equinox, we can see the huge eras of around 2000 years, but we can see also a small periods of time. As you know, one principle of ancient astrology is that we can divide every sign the same way as is the whole zodiac in 12 parts. So we can divide the Babylonian Pisces in 12 parts. Each part will be 2.5 degrees. And these 12 parts are called dodecatemoria, which means 12 parts, right?
Yes.
I don't know if my English is okay here. Like dodecatemoria just means
12
the 12
sections.
parts.
Yeah, the 12 parts. Yeah.
The 12 parts. And the principle also is that the first part corresponds to the nature of the sign which we are dividing. If we are dividing the sign Pisces, then the first part will be again the same, Pisces.
Right.
This is because the beginning is the quintessence of the whole. The beginning is the same as the nature of the whole. So the first dodecatemoria of Pisces will be Pisces of Pisces. The second dodecatemoria will be Aries of Pisces. And now I can also show you the dodecatemoria here. So here you see Pisces is here, and the next one is Aries. And the spring equinox moves backwards. So now, right now, it is 6 minutes into the Aries dodecatemoria of Babylonian Pisces. But when did it enter? It entered in 2014, 2015. I will put here April, around the spring equinox. And when I refresh, you'll see, okay, 501. Okay, let's see, I must move one more year. 500. So this is the threshold of this dodecatemoria, the dodecatemoria of Aries of the fixed sign Pisces. And around 2015, plus minus 1 or 2 years, the spring equinox changed the dodecatemoria. Before that, it was in the dodecatemoria of Taurus. And in 2015, it entered into the dodecatemoria of Aries. So what does this mean? Well, Taurus is under Venus. It is the era of the plenty. And Aries is much more confrontational, energetic kind of war kind of sign of influence. And also we must see here that we are in the end of the big epoch of the Pisces. And we are approaching the next big era of Aquarius. We're not there. We're still not there, but we are approaching. We have like from now until we enter astronomically into this Aquarius year, it will be, let's see, it will be about after around 350 years.
Wow. So
Because
350 years from now, we'll be entering Aquarius.
Yes, because the spring equinox moves with 1 degree on the average 72 years. And
Right.
here we have 5 degrees. These two Dorica Timoria are all altogether 5 degrees. So it is 360 years.
And what do you think this means in terms of what it says about what we're going to be experiencing worldwide in terms of consciousness and you know, changes and life?
Well, this is okay. In the end, like everything is in cycles. Human life is a cycle. The day is a cycle. The year is a cycle.
Right.
And every cycle has a beginning and has an end. So in the end of the cycle, the destructive forces are much stronger. And then in the end of each cycle, there is this kind of death, so to say. And in this end, there is a lot of confusion, a lot of degradation, a lot of aggression and wars and devastation also. Like the last time when this happened, when the spring equinox entered into Pisces, this was somewhere, I believe, in 220 AD after Christ. So I'll just put here 220. I'm not sure if this is the exact year, but now we'll see it. Yes, you see, 000. So 220 AD, what happened astronomically and astrologically? The spring equinox moved from the sign of Aries to the sign of Pisces. And what happened in this time was that Christianity came to the forefront and supplanted the ancient religions and rituals. So the whole culture changed. Everything changed around this time. 220, well, actually, Constantine the Great, this Roman Byzantine emperor, who was the first Roman emperor, to accept Christianity, I think he did it maybe 100 years after that, somewhere around there, like maybe not more than 100 years after that, Christianity was accepted already. But even at this time, it was so spread that the persecutions were neglected, that the persecution of the Christians stopped. So, but you see, Jesus Christ appeared 200 was born 220 years before.
You know, like, can you guesstimate the date and the month and the year he was born?
Oh well, this is a topic for a huge research.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, the year, according to the tradition of the church, is 0, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the first year of the Christian era.
Mm-hmm.
But it may be plus minus several years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is that Jesus Christ was born around 220 years before the astronomical fact of the new era. So Jesus Christ was born in the end of the era of Aries.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we are in a similar situation when we are in the end of the era of Pisces, which is the Christian civilization. And now in this end there is turmoil and there is changes, big huge changes and wars and new kind of how to say, new kind of religions or beliefs are coming up.
Yeah.
And we still don't know what exactly will happen, but we know that this is the end of this big epoch that we are living now. And also you can subdivide each of these dodecatemoria, because it is 2 degrees and a half. This corresponds to 180 years. And we can, of course, subdivide this again in 12 parts or in 30 parts, which is similar to the 12 months, to the 12 zodiacal signs, or to the 30 days in the lunar month. So we can also subdivide each one of these dodecatemoria and know exactly in this what are these smaller periods, which can be 6 years or even days, you know. It's depending how we divide them, and we can of course know what kind of astrological association they had, because in Babylonian astrology, every lunar month is connected with a divinity. Every zodiacal sign is connected with a given divinity. Every lunar day is connected with a divinity. And every divinity has its peculiar character. So all of them also are connected with planets, with constellations, and with stars. So there is all this kind of picture of tightly connected phenomena of the reality. so we can guess.
Mhm.
But yeah, so you see, it's mm, this is something which is on the global scale, and there is also difference between the modern the modern understanding of history and of the development of history, and the understanding of the ancient, especially the ancient Sumerians, the ancient Babylonians, and the ancient Greeks, for that matter, about how history develops.
Mhm.
So, what is the modern notion, conception of the historic development is that it is like linear and going up, a slope going up, going higher and higher and higher
Mm.
and higher. And the ancient understanding is that actually it is that it is a cycle. It is a cycle
Mhm.
in which the new era starts with the golden age,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then it degrades and goes lower, degrades
Yeah.
until it gets to the bottom, and there is this big catastrophe, and then God sends a prophet to establish the new golden era.
Mhm.
So from the nothing, straight up starts the new golden era.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So
Okay, I have a question.
that's
Where
yeah.
do where does Ophiuchus and 13 months come into play in an ancient calendars of the time where there was recorded 13 months and 13 constellations? And
Yes.
what happened with that? Like why is it 12 now? Why did they condense everything to 12 months
Uh,
and 30 days, 31? Like what happened with Ophiuchus and this 13 months?
huh. Well, uh, Ophiuchus and the 13 months. Um, so what actually happens here is that okay, why 12 signs? That's the first question. Why in astrology we have 12 signs and not 15 or 100 or any other number? Well, that's a good question. And the answer is very, very logical. And it is because we have 12 lunar months
Mhm,
in one seasonal year.
mhm. But
On the,
what happened to the 13th lunar months?
yeah, yeah, we will talk about this. So
Yeah.
on the average, in in a 19 years cycle,
Mm.
we have 12 years with 12 lunar months. But we have 7 years with 13 lunar months.
Mm.
Uh,
Mm.
because 12 lunar months is less than 365 days. And that's why sometimes we have 13 lunar months, sometimes 12. And mm, that's why, but on the average, what is regular is that we have 12 lunar months, and from there we have this 12 zodiacal signs.
Mhm.
Actually, the zodiacal signs, they are just um, mathematical, astronomical kind of workout of this observable 12 or 13 lunar months that everybody can see with their own eyes. So they transfer this mathematically, astronomically into the zodiac with 12 signs. The 13, of course, we have also years with 13 lunar months. The rule is that the spring equinox into this ancient, actually, like in Babylon, they had what they called the ideal tropical year, which is almost the same as the tropical modern zodiac, because the calendar in Babylon started with the spring,
Right.
with the first lunar crescent around the spring equinox.
Right.
And why is this? Because this is the beginning of the year. And when is the beginning? Well, obviously, it is in the spring, right?
Yep.
And the equinox, when night is equal to day and when the day starts to grow longer than the night, this is the important point. And in this ideal tropical year, as they called this the ideal year. This was in modern terminology, we can say actually that this is the Babylonian tropical zodiac. But the difference is that they put the equinox in the middle of the first section. The first section of the zodiac was called also Nisan, the name of the first lunar month. Nisan, and not Ares. And the next section was called Airu, which is the second lunar month in the Babylonian calendar. So they had this ideal kind of tropical zodiac, and they had this calendar, which was lunisolar calendar. The spring equinox must fall into the first section, into the first month. Well, it is a little bit complex because in later times in Sumer, the first month started just before the equinox. And in later times in Babylon, they moved it forward. In Babylon, the first month Nisan started just after the spring equinox with the first lunar crescent. There is this detail here. I think that more logical is to put the equinox inside the first section. And I would agree more with the Sumerians than with the Babylonians. The Sumerians, they were before the Babylonians.
Which would be what month? What month would that fall into?
Well, right now the spring equinox is on the 20th of March. And in the Sumerian doctrine, the beginning of the first month will be before that. Like if you see the first lunar crescent several days or even a week or even 2 weeks before the spring equinox,
Right.
then this will be the start of the first section of the first month. So this calendar, because it was observable for everybody to see on the sky, it was used in everywhere, in trading, in contracts, in everywhere. They used this calendar because everybody could see this with their own eyes. It was much more useful. So this is the genealogy of why we have 12 signs. But there is also something else here. There is something else. You know, this interesting question. If we have a sphere, okay, let me find if I have one here. Where is it? If you have a sphere, the question is how many spheres we can put around it, touching the sphere. How many spheres we can put around one sphere with the same size? Well, the answer is.
Do you mean
12.
just like that?
Yes.
Okay. So
the answer is 12.
Right. Okay.
But,
so how many can we put around it? Yeah. Okay.
However, it is not exactly 12. That's the question. That it is 12.4 or something like a little bit more than 12.
Okay.
So you see, this mathematical kind of reality, corresponds exactly almost to the lunisolar cycle of the tropical year. Like sometimes we have 12, sometimes we have 13. So how will someone explain this?
Right.
There is no way to explain this in a material worldview, because this is metaphysics. So also the question is why the disk of the moon is exactly the same size as the disk of the sun. How this happens? How this happens? But this fact about the spheres, and also if you put 12 spheres around one sphere, because there is a little bit more place there, these 12 spheres can move around the central sphere.
Right.
They can move around, they can interchange position without losing touch with the central sphere.
Okay.
So it's quite astonishing, because this fact about the spheres, this is purely mathematical. It is absolute truth, because if there is a science which is absolutely connected with the truth, this is mathematics, because there is no argument there.
Right.
We can argue about politics, we can argue about history, about astrology, about everything. But if you have $3 million in a bank, and you go and you withdraw 1 million, everybody knows how much you will have left.
Right.
There is no 2 or 3 or 4 mathematics. There's only one. And And this mathematical fact is absolutely amazing because of its connection with astronomical realities, which, if we think the way the materialistic scholars think, there should not be a connection between
Right.
this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, but interestingly about
13.
mathematics. Yeah, 13.
Uh,
13 and
the,
Ophiuchus. Yeah.
you see, okay, I'll show you now. I'll again share the screen. Okay.
There seems to be two mathematics operating in this reality. There's the one that says one. Well, I come from the one that says 1 + 1 = 2. And then there's the 1 + 1 = 1, which is a very bizarre thing, I think. But yes, I just thought I'd put that in there.
Okay, you know what?
Mm.
Let me show you something here. Okay. Okay, then suppose you go to your bank. You have there $1 million and you put another $1 million, and then next day you go and they tell you, how much I have here, and they told you one. Oh well, I just put another 1 million yesterday. Oh no, this is this mathematics, which says that 1 + 1 = 1.
I know,
So
it's crazy.
you know. So yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So here,
is there an Ophiuchus? I mean, did the Babylonians register that there is an Ophiuchus?
oh yes,
Okay.
of course. So this constellation, you see here. I'll get rid um, of the planet so we can see better.
Okay.
Okay, so this is Scorpio here, which you can see very well, right?
Yeah.
So Ophiuchus is above Scorpio here.
Okay.
And he's holding a snake.
Right.
And in ancient times, he was connected with Asclepius, the healer.
Right.
The healer.
Right.
And Asclepius was a son of Apollo. Apollo is the light of the cosmos. And so actually there are stars here in the end of Babylonian Scorpio. These stars here, I think, pertain to Ophiuchus. These stars here.
Okay.
And also this here. So yes, the constellation Ophiuchus has some part here in the end of Scorpio, but this is not everything. This is not the only non-zodiacal constellation which has some kind of step into the zodiac. But also there is another place. Let me turn it a little bit. There is another place on the zodiac where an extra zodiacal constellation passes through the zodiac, which is Orion. Orion. This here is Betelgeuse. This is the right arm of Orion, and in his right arm, he is holding a weapon. And so this is his shoulder, Betelgeuse, and his arm is going right this here. And here goes the weapon, which finishes with Capella. And Capella is one big iron sphere, which Orion holds on an iron chain, and he is swirling it,
Yeah, yeah.
So, uh, so this is another place where another constellation goes through the zodiac. You see in the Babylonian astrology, we look at the images, of the constellations, and each image is connected with divinity and with mythology, with myths, and also each part of the image has its meaning. So there are many details that we can see if we employ this knowledge. And every star is connected with divinity and has its own character. So it's a very, very rich astrology. So for example, Gemini, this is Apollo and Hercules. Apollo is the divine part. Hercules is the human part. In Mesopotamia, these are Gilgamesh, the human part, and Enkidu, the divine part. So it's like here, for example, and and you see, it's there is a little bit confusion about this. Who is who? Because even in the ancient texts, they say that that Castor is Hercules and Pollux Apollo. However, it is the other way around. Why? Why it is the other way around? Because if you look at the image, Castor, or this guy which is higher, when they rise, Castor rises first. So Castor holds an arrow, and the arrow is a symbol of Apollo.
That makes more sense.
And Pollux is holding in his right hand a club. A club, this kind of rod, club, which is something from which we can recognize Hercules, Heracle, like in the iconography everywhere. You see Heracle or Hercules in Latin. You see him with this club and with a lion skin,
mane.
The whole skin,
the mane,
covers him. So it's when you know the iconography, you can immediately see what is wrong and what is right. And this is another interesting thing about Babylonian astrology. Actually, as you can see, I am developing both traditions: Mesopotamian, Babylonian, and Greek, ancient Greek tradition, with their divinities, with their symbols and their correspondences on the sky, and with their mythology. And the Greek system, because it is much closer to us in time, in civilization, in even in distance. I believe that we can have more easy understanding of this ancient astrology through the Greek system of divinities and mythology.
Mm-hmm.
This is because we, the modern people, are closer to this.
Mm-hmm.
And Babylonian is further away.
Right.
So, of course, I employ both. And you know, one interesting thing is
Brilliant.
that as they developed in time, like Mesopotamian culture started 6,000 years BC,
Mm-hmm.
6,000 BC, and and um, um, the Greek culture, let's say, started around 2000 BC.
Mm-hmm.
So first was the Mesopotamian
Mm-hmm.
culture, and then came the Greek and Hellenistic cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So what we see in a chart through the Babylonian system, through the Babylonian myths, divinities, this corresponds to layers in the subconsciousness which are much, much deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And the Greek system, we can see layers which are above the Mesopotamian layer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the tropical system and tropical zodiac, it is even more superficial.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so all these kind of layers we can see through these different systems.
Did you ever
And
do Alexander the Great's chart?
I tried
Yeah.
years ago, but I'm not sure. I have not made extensive research there because we must read all the historians better in original, and this is a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing about Babylonian astrology is that because it is so much connected with mythology and with divinities, we need to see these divinities, how they look, their shape, their symbols, their bodies, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that we need, if we examine divinity, whether it will be in the Greek culture or in the Babylonian, it is the first thing that we must do is to look at the iconography, to look at how they picture these divinities. What kind of color was their eyes, their hair, how they were, what were they carrying, what were their symbols. And we can learn a lot in this because archetypes we can understand by their symbols,
Right.
and by the images, by iconography, not by conceptions, but by symbols.
Right.
So if we look the Babylonian way at a chart, depending where the planets are, we can say a lot connecting with the. For example, imagine that we have let's see how to do it. Okay, I'll put also the meridian here. The meridian. Okay. Imagine we have a chart, something like this. I'll put here exactly what I'm thinking about. Okay. Okay, well, the time, the time. Okay. Mm, mm. Something like that. Maybe. Okay. So I'll put the planets now. I'll put the horizon. In this program, as you can see, we can see the horizon. We can see the meridian. The horizon is this here. So okay, let's put here. Okay, I'm recreating a chart of a particular person that I know. So, for example, if we look at this in the Babylonian way, what we can see here is that in the most important place, which is around MC, the highest point of the zodiac, or the point which is very high. Actually, mathematically, astronomically, MC is not the highest point of the zodiac in altitude. Actually, this is not, but it is over there. This is detail, which will not go into this rabbit hole right now. So the fact of the matter is that this area here around the meridian is very, very high. So who is on high throne, on high position? Well, that's God. That's the boss. That's the king. That's the power. So this area here, if we have something, stars, planets, they are extremely strong. They are like the king of the chart. So what we see here in this chart is, wow, Jupiter in this place of the highest authority. So the next question that we ask is Jupiter in highs or not? As you know, highs means like we have day planets and night planets. Sun, Jupiter, Saturn, these are day planets. And if the person is born during the day, then Jupiter, Saturn, and Sun are in highs, which means they are very good.
Right.
And the other planets are planets of the night: Venus, Mars, Moon. Mercury can be both. I'll not go into this right now. But we see that Jupiter is in the highest place of authority, and we see that this happens during the daytime. So Jupiter is extremely strong, very, very powerful, and very good. Very good, like influence, like character. The character of the influence coming from Jupiter here is balance and is good. But that's not everything. You see here, Jupiter is conjunct with Regulus. And Regulus means king.
Oh, wow.
Even in Babylon, the name of this star by meaning was the same, king, the king. So Jupiter here is conjunct with Regulus, which is the king. But we know that in Babylonian astrology, Jupiter is Marduk, which is the king of the world, the king of the cosmos. So we have here the king of the cosmos, Marduk, in the most powerful place, which is the place of the king, again, MC and around. But not only this, but it is in conjunction with the star of the king, Regulus, which is the heart of Leo, of the celestial lion. And the celestial lion is connected with of course, the king of the world, Marduk, because us, the lion, is the king of the jungle, so Marduk is the king of the cosmos, of all other gods. So only looking at this, forget about everything else. Only looking at this, we can say a lot here. We can say a lot that this person will be extremely extremely
Exalted.
spiritual, exalted, ethical, because Jupiter is the planet of ethics and of real spirituality. Because the real spirituality is actually ethics.
Right.
Ethics towards the other people, towards the whole creation. And
so whose chart is this without saying a name? Like, is this a person who's famous? Is this a person who's
this
a
is not
monk
a
or
person,
a nun or like?
This is not a famous person. This is
Are they like a
this is
monk?
somebody who this is somebody who is consulting people about psychological things, about spiritual development, connected with psychology, and with the whole life, even with business, because you know business, if business is conducted in an ethical way, which is coming from a real spiritual source, then it is much more powerful and much more successful. So this person is combining psychology, spirituality, business consultations, everything. Of course, you know, this should not be done because they will expect results. Okay, look, for example, some businessman comes and say, okay, look, I want my business to grow. Right now I'm making 10 millions every year, but I want to make 30 millions every year. Is this possible? And this person says, okay, it is possible, but of course this businessman must meet some tough requirements. For example, this businessman must do it not because he will be better in business, but because this is the things to do, that this is the right, ethical, bright, good things to do, without regards of the result. That's why he should do it. He should do it because of conviction, deep conviction that this is the right path. And so anyway, we see here also another thing here is that we have here invisible Saturn, invisible Venus, and invisible Mercury. and Mercury and Sun are 2 degrees apart. Saturn is 4 degrees apart from the Sun. So we have this conglomeration of 3 invisible planets around the Sun in the end, of Babylonian Leo. So that's, this is, and Venus is in the 12th house. So this conglomeration is on the border between the 12th and the 11th house. So what this means is that this person is doing the things from behind the curtain, that they
Right.
that they don't that they prefer not to be noticed. And this means, of course, Venus invisible here in the 12th house can be some problems in the emotional love life, some kind of psycho things, but it is in the head of Virgo, in the head. And the head is connected with the truth, with the God, the truth. Then the torso is the human world,
Right.
and below the waist is the animal world. So this Venus is in the divine part of the human body. So there will be a lot of aiming at some true love, real love, because it's in the head of Virgo. But because it is invisible, and because it's in the 12th house, there will be some issues. So another thing is that in the last degrees of Babylonian Leo here, like the 28, 29, and 30th degree, is where is projected the this heap of stars, which are called today, I believe, the hairs of Veronica.
Okay.
So there is in ancient times, this heap of stars, this cluster of faint stars look like a ball, and I think there must be somewhere here, somewhere here, and actually there were this ball at the end of the tail of the lion. How do you call this?
Well, that would be, you're talking about the tail part, which is
the tail of the lion finishes with one kind of sphere from hairs, like a ball.
Oh yeah, like at the very end, he's got the I don't know what you call that. Just
So this thing here in ancient times was called typhon or typhos, and typhos was a monster. Typhon was a monster who, together with his spouse Echidna, they had a lot of children monsters. So Echidna was this monster, which was portrayed like like a beautiful woman, beautiful young woman, but from the waist below, she was a snake. And she had 100 snakes on her back, hidden, but ready to attack. And she was living in this cave in Scythia, which is modern day northern Russia, Ukraine, somewhere there in this ancient times, where constant strong winds blew and the rays of the sun never touched the earth.
Wow.
So that's what these ancient writers in ancient Greece wrote, that she will attract travelers. She will show up from the waist up, her snakes hidden, and she will attract these unlucky travelers and eat them alive.
Wow.
So echidna is the embodiment of desire, especially sensual desire, this attachment to the material world, which keeps us under the lid, which keeps us turning and turning into the created world. And her husband Typhus, from the waist below, he has instead of legs, he has 2 bodies of snakes instead of legs. From the waist up, he's a man with wings, and he has 100 fingers, each one finishing with a jaw of some terrible animal, crocodiles, lions, dinosaurs, you know. And this guy is the embodiment, the principle of the fear and of the anger. So this is like attachment to the sensual desires and anger and fear. So this family, so-called, of monsters, they have the task to keep the souls of the people in the sub-lunar field and never let them go.
Right.
Of course, they are not so successful with everybody. We know that many people went through their tests. Actually, their task is to test everybody who goes higher. So they had their job in the universe.
Yeah.
And Typhon is somewhere here, and he is projected in the last 2-3 degrees of the Babylonian Leo. And here we have Mercury, Sun, Saturn is close by, and Venus invisible is also close by. So who is the Sun? The Sun is Apollo, the light of the world. The light of the world is one manifestation of God. And actually, the Sun is manifestation of this principle, of this name of the God, which is the light. Nur in Arabic, they had 100 names of God. One is Nur, the light. And also Jesus Christ was called the light of the cosmos, right? So we have here God himself, the light of the world, right into the den of Typhon.
Right in the heart of the darkness.
Right into the den, yes, of this horrible monster Typhon. So what happens here? A battle. because Apollo, there is a myth about Apollo killing Echidna with 100 arrows,
Right.
which he sent in one moment. In one
Mm-hmm.
moment, 100 arrows,
Mm-hmm.
and one arrow for each of the snakes of Echidna, and of the fingers of this Typhon.
Mm-hmm.
So there is this. So we have here clearly a chart of a highly evolved
Mm-hmm.
spirit, very ethical and very sublime and very spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly in this lifetime, this battle will take place,
Mm-hmm.
and from the outcome will depend everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Amazing.
of course, if we're talking down to earth things, then we will see here Jupiter daytime on MC. Ooh, wow, this person comes from from a rich family,
Mm-hmm.
uh, with very good luck, protection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everything is easy to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
This is given by Jupiter in this position,
Right.
and of course Regulus. This is kind of aristocratic
Mm-hmm.
person with such
Mm-hmm.
kind of demeanor,
Mm-hmm.
such kind of worldview and talking and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Everything is like aristocrat,
Mm-hmm.
truly aristocrat, and also by family, this person is aristocrat also.
Mm-hmm.
High position in society,
Mm-hmm.
of course, and all this is only from this Jupiter there.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Of course, we can talk also about this invisible Venus a lot by her position.
Mm.
uh, this Mars and Moon conjunction here in the ninth house is also very interesting here. The ninth house is connected with the spiritual realms that
Mm-hmm.
the person can have contact.
Mm-hmm.
So this person can have contact with the spirits which are in the hierarchy of the Moon and Mars,
Mm.
which is a powerful combination
Mm-hmm.
because this makes a good exorcist. Mars in the ninth house,
Mm.
according to ancient tradition, makes a very good exorcist by nature.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Amazing.
and and this position that they are in Gemini, this this of course you see also that here we have Mars conjunct Pollux. Pollux is a red star under Mars in ancient astrology. Also, Pollux is Hercules,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Heracle, who has also kind of hot temper.
Mm-hmm.
From the mythology, we know
Mm-hmm.
this. Uh, so there is this coincidence, like Mars with Pollux in the image of Hercules makes Hercules very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
So here, the
Mm-hmm.
power of expression, the power of actions can be very overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And we have also the moon conjunct with Castor, which is Apollo. And Apollo is connected with the light.
Mm-hmm.
And the moon is one of the lights on the firmament.
Mm-hmm.
We have the sun and
Mm-hmm.
the moon. So the moon makes Castor, which is Apollo, strong. Of course, this relation between Hercules and Apollo is kind of complicated relationship. Like they have had their arguments. There are myths about their argument. Like once Hercules was very upset with the with the not very clear kind of prophecies given by Pythia. Pythia, the priestess of Apollo in Delphi. So because Hercules, Heracle was not happy with this kind of unclear words by Pythia, he decided to take the tripod, which was the symbol of the prophecy. The tripod was a chair with three legs, a special chair in Delphi, in the temple of Apollo, with three legs, on which Pythia was sitting when she was giving her prophecies. So Hercules went there and took the tripod, and he said, "Okay, I'll take the tripod, and now we will have clear prophecies." But then Apollo was angry at this, and he caught the tripod from one side, Hercules from the other, and they were drawing it from one side to the other side until Zeus decided to finish this argument with a lightning.
Yeah.
And after the lightning was gone, so to say, first there was this flash of immense light, and then after several moments, when the light dissipated, the tripod remained in the hands of Apollo. So what is this here? What is this? What kind? Because you see, myths have a meaning, deep meaning on several levels, deep spiritual meaning. So here we have the human. The human Hercules is not happy with the divine Apollo about his prophecies, and the human wants to take this prophetic gift from the divine Apollo for himself. But this is not possible. This does not go. That's why Zeus throws the lightning, and the tripod remains in the Apollo's hands. But Babylonian, we have here also something else here, that this person may be tempted to do the same, to take the divine prerogatives,
Right.
for
Yes.
this person, and this will not go well. This will not go well. But we may have this kind of thing.
Okay, just before we go on,
Yeah.
I have a client appointment, so we have about 10 minutes left.
Okay. All right.
And the other thing, what I wondered if we could do, Rumen, because I love how you read charts and I love how you aspect the celestial divine realms versus the lower and I don't know, maybe at some other point you could do the same thing with reverse charts, like people who are in the underworld, and explain that a little bit, maybe in a part 2 if you're interested. This is fascinating.
Yes. In part 2, yeah, we can continue this discussion, of course. So the way that they read a chart in ancient times, employing attracting also mythology, and deep interpretation, archetypal, will take in account all these myths, all these images, all these symbols, and their spiritual meaning. And and this is on this deep archetypal level. And then, of course, we can also interpret a chart in the other superficial levels, like down to earth experience of life. Of course, this is just a consequence of the deepest levels. Mm,
This particular chart is very, very interesting, for sure.
Here, also we have here Uranus. I think the real chart was something like this. Uranus was on the ascendant, or almost there. And also there is a star here, which is the bright star of the northern crown.
Oh.
How far this star is Gamma. Gamma, I think this one is the star. Gamma is in the 18th degree of projected into the 18th degree of Babylonian Libra, and this Gamma is the brightest star of the northern crown, and it is right on the ascendant. So what does this mean? This means that this person will be crowned in all kinds of areas that the person may follow. No matter whether this will be science or sport or anything, this person will be successful in all kinds of competitions and will be crowned as the winner. Why? Because in ancient times, the winners of the competitions, and they had competitions not only in athletics, but they had competitions also in poetry and music and everything. And the winner, they will crown the winner with a golden
laurel.
Yeah, yeah, golden laurel crown, a real solid gold. So this also we can draw a lot of meaning also from the stars and from the constellations where these stars are. And Charlie Chaplin had also Gamma right on his ascendant.
Wow.
So Gamma is connected also with art, with music.
Very interesting.
So it is so rich. Babylonian astrology is so rich. So yes,
it's so profound. Because just to wrap things up, and I'm sorry I have to get going because of the appointments, but when I look at this all and I see the mythology, and I see the mythology also has it almost has like the relevance of who the person is celestially. Like it almost shows you almost who they are.
Yes, the deepest levels of the human soul.
Yeah, I think it's just brilliant. I love it. I love how you just, this is your system that you came up with, right? This is your
this is this is something that I actually reconstructed drawing from Babylonian and Hellenistic Greek astrology. Of course, also mythology, ancient mythology, philosophy.
Right.
So they
So,
had yeah.
oh, sorry. No, I didn't mean to interrupt.
They had this absolutely amazing insights.
Mm,
For example, um, the Greek, some of the Greek philosophers, they knew that the world is limitless,
mm-hmm.
without limits. Uh, and how did they prove this? Very simple. They prove this with mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
They say, okay, look, if we have infinite
Mm-hmm.
kind of sequence in the mental realm,
Mm,
for example, the sequence of numbers 1, 2, 3, and we can go to infinity.
mm-hmm.
So if the mental, which means that the mental world is infinite.
Mm-hmm.
So if the mental world is infinite, then the whole world is infinite.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that kind of absolute amazing insights. You know that Posidonius, one Greek philosopher and scholar, mathematician, astronomer, he measured how big is the Earth. He knew that the Earth is a sphere, and
Mm-hmm.
he knew how big is this sphere, and he measured it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
exactly. He measured it
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How did he do this?
Mm-hmm.
In a very simple way, but this the next time.
Mm-hmm.
It is a way
Yes.
that everybody will understand.
Okay.
Everybody with IQ over
Mm-hmm.
30
Mm-hmm.
will understand. So ancient culture was absolutely amazing in their worldview. They viewed everything interconnected,
Mm-hmm.
and that everything meant something deep meaning. That
Mm-hmm.
everything had a deep meaning, and they knew these deep spiritual realms.
Mm-hmm.
They some of these ancient philosophers, uh, they had also experiences of what they called theophany, theophany theophany, which is uh, appearances of divinities in front of them.
Oh, right. I've
So
had that happen.
yes, so it's a ancient kind of
But this is real. This is what I mean. This is all real.
oh
And
yes, absolutely.
I do believe that it's not just showing who we are, but it's showing who we are celestially, like our own celestial identities, because I think we are the micro of the macro. We're like the micro versions of the macro archetypes in human
Yes,
form. So, but yeah, maybe we
absolutely.
can
Yes.
get into some of the. I want to get into more of this, and I want to get into some of these experiences that correlate with this knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah. And also where we're headed in the next 7 years. And let's go into the underworld aspect of this all. Like maybe like if you can find somebody else's chart, well, you don't have to give a name, but somebody that has these really deep underworld aspects, and then highlight that. And yeah, that would be
Yes.
great. Okay, so everyone, we're going to do part 2, and this has been amazing. I think it's a bit of a long video, but I know nobody minds. They love it. And we'll see you again in part 2, where we will continue this. But just before we end, Rumen, can you give your website to everybody, your contact information? Can you let them know your book again?
Yes. Let's see. My website is babylonianastrology.com, And let me see. Let me see. I will also put my email here, because in the Babylonian astrology.com, you can contact me through the Babylonian astrology.com or through an email. Let me just share the screen. Okay, where was that? Yeah, here. Okay, entire screen share. So this is here my site, babylonianastrology.com. Here's information. You can contact me here. Let me see, where was that? Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, here.
contact me is right there. Yeah.
So also, this is my email here. You see it?
Yep. There we go. If we can make it larger. Yeah.
So yeah, there are a lot of things in this ancient astrology, Babylonian. Well, I call it the real astrology because this is eternal.
Yeah.
Only the fact that the Babylonian and ancient astrology was closer to this real astrology.
Brilliant. And there's a lot of information on your website, so people will be able to read a lot of things, and yeah, I think part 2, we will see everybody again then. And your book. Yes, this book, that would be great. Your book, that is looks really interesting. I'm gonna have to get your book.
Yeah, that's the book. I have several books in English, including this one, but this one is academic. But I have many more in English, and you people can contact me
On your
about
website.
the full list on the email also.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
I know this one, the Babylonian Astrolab, is also available on Amazon, but everything else is on your website as well. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we will see everybody for part 2. Rumen, this has been amazing. It's been divine. And your jewelry too. Rumen makes incredible divine celestial jewelry that has to do with all of this. And yeah, I think I'd like to show some of your jewelry in the part 2 as well.
Yes, you can find, because some of the jewelry I also put in the Etsy. Apollo Vision is Apollo Vision in Etsy, and that's me here.
Yeah, beautiful. Oh, I just love it. And having a reading with you and knowing what to get in terms of the correct stones and the correct pendants, I think that's brilliant. Nobody else is doing that. Like that is just brilliant.
Yes, it was nice talking to you, Avalone, and I wish you very good luck and very good luck to everybody who is watching this video.
Yep, and I'll see you in part 2, Rumen. Thank you so much.
Yes. Ciao, ciao.
Okay, thank you, everyone.